Hi everyone, it's Crafty Tina's. Today's video I want to show you how to make a 12 by 12 shadow box gift. Now this is a 1-inch thick shadow box. It is not the 1/2 inch that we've been doing with the shadow box punch board. This is the 1-inch thick. You guys can see the difference in the width and the depth, a lot deeper. We're making this with my templates. We're going to use the 1-inch shadow box template today and the little L-shape ruler. This shadow box is a gift for a little boy's room, and I found these really cute construction trucks at Dollar Tree. They come 5 in a pack. They're no longer $1.25 though. I think their toys are now like $1.75. But you can get any kind of little vehicle. You don't have to get them at Dollar Tree. I'm sure Walmart, Family Dollar, any of those other stores that have toys are going to have small trucks. It is getting harder and harder to find little toys because I guess they're considered choking hazards, or their parts could be. So I could not find little safety cones, like the little orange construction cones. I'm going to go to Hobby Lobby and see if I can find those. I also saw, but my Dollar Tree didn't have them, the little bitty construction signs, like the stop signs and the caution, minute work. I want to put 2 little signs here and a couple of little construction cones. So I also want to get some stickers for either the top or the bottom. But the other thing I'm going to do, and I'm not going to do it on camera because I don't want the name to be on here, but I am going to take these 3/4 inch letters I got in a scrapbook packet. I don't have any need for them, but then I thought they would be the perfect size to put the name on this frame. And then down here I can put some little construction stickers that I'm going to look for today. But I wanted to go ahead and show you the actual shadow box. Also, this does not have to be a construction themed shadow box. This could be a Barbie themed, a fashion doll themed. You could do a Lego theme, pretty much anything you want. Now I've made the 12 by 12 outside shadow box, but I've made the 3/4 inch inside frame in another one of my videos, and we're going to use this frame. This frame is 6 1/4, I believe. No, it's a 6-inch by 6-inch. I'm like a 6-inch and an 1/8 because I didn't fold it properly. That was before I learned that when you're making it with the template, you need to cut off the actual line that you drew. Instead of making sure you cut on the line, you're going to make sure you cut that line off, and it will stop the gap and stop it from being just ever so slightly off. It does not matter when you're doing something like this, but I want my corners to be properly connected, and my little trucks are loose like these. These corners did great because I made sure that I cut the lines off. Now I have not glued these on yet because I don't know what I'm going to find in terms of little roadway signs, but I did glue these 2 guys on. This is the little tow truck and a little tanker truck. I took some wire and I made it look like he was pulling him up the shadow box, and I absolutely love that. You can still see my little glue trails from my hot glue gun. I absolutely love this. So I'm hoping to get a few more creative ideas while I'm at the store today. I would love to add some fake dirt in here, but I'm not really sure yet how I'm going to do that. Maybe if I find colored sand, like some brown sand, that might be good. Or I could get some brown clay and just make it like a little mud puddle somewhere or in the corner. I want to like make this illusion of a construction site a little bit more. But this video is to show you how to make a 12 by 12 1-inch shadow box frame. I'm going to show you how to put the rest of the stuff on here just so you know, but the video is about making this very large, very thick frame. So let's get started. Let's talk about what you're going to need. You're going to need a template. These are Crafty Tina's shadow box templates. I do have a video out there showing you how to make this out of cardstock. We're also going to use the little L square because it really helps to line up this template better. You're going to need an inside shadow box. And even though this is a 6 by 6, you can use any size you want depending on how much space you want on the outside and how much space you want on the inside. Totally up to you. By using the smaller box on the inside, it does give it a better 3D illusion because this is 3/4 inch high and this is 1 inch high. I love the overall look. I know it's not reflective that much in the camera because you can't see it in real life, but the depth of the shadow box is great. And because it is 1 inch, it allows us to use things that we could not use if we were doing the 1/2 inch. The little trucks just wouldn't fit in a 1/2 inch. They're going to be sticking out way too much. So they may work in the 3/4, and they do. They're exactly 3/4 inch. But I really wanted to do the 1 inch frame. Now the little roadway here, this is washi tape. I've had this for years, so I don't know where to tell you to get this, but I have seen this in, I think, a few of the stores, maybe on Amazon. You could also print out a strip if you wanted, or you could use regular black tape or ribbon and just put the little yellow dotted line down it. You don't need the white lines. The little dotted one would be just fine. You could also make your frame in black cardstock instead of this brownish looking. I kind of went for the dirt look, and this cardboard looking cardstock really gave it that look. So you can make this black, take a yellow gel pen and make the dashes go all the way around it. That would be absolutely adorable. This could actually be a play set if you wanted it to be. Smaller kids, though, are just going to collapse this paper, so I really recommend it to be a wall hanging, or if you're okay with a one-time play, because it's not meant for durability, especially with this being cardstock. That's all it is cardstock, and it's hollow. So the first time a kid goes to lean over, puts their hand down, it's going to crumble this. So I do recommend this for being a wall decoration or a one-time play. So what else do you need once you have your template? The templates do show every fingerprint, so I'm trying to make sure that you guys can see them but not think that they're messy. You're going to need some actual cardstock. These are your sides. You need 4 of them. 2 of them are going to get cut with the template, and 2 of them are going to remain intact. These are 5 inches wide. Because this is 1 inch, the width needs to be 5 times your size. When we made the 3/4 inch, our paper was 3 3/4 because it was 5 times 3/4, which is 3 3/4. For this one, we needed 5 times 1 inch, which is simply 5 inches. Super easy to remember because it's the 1 inch. The length of your cardstock for all 4 pieces need to be the same, by the way. The length of your cardstock is how big your shadow box is going to be. If I was making an 11 inch from the outside, 11 inch shadow box, my cardstock would need to be 11 inches. But this actual shadow box is 12 inches, so my paper is going to be 5 inches by 12 inches, and you're going to need 4 of them. The other thing you're going to need is a background for your small shadow box, a background for your large shadow box, and a piece of chipboard for the back of your shadow box. Now, the benefit of using the templates and not your shadow box punch board when you're making large things such as this is the fact that your back is no longer the same as your sides. When we're using, when we're using our shadow box punch board, I love it, but the back is going to be the same cardstock as the front. So you don't have the option of putting something stiffer on the back. You could glue it on after the fact, but the board itself is not intended to make anything but a cardstock total shadow box, such as this. This was made using the template, but it's the same design that you would use with the punch board. It's one piece cut and rolled in. So this is all one piece of cardstock. And I like being able to put the chipboard on the back. So now let's prep our sides first. So we're going to move this out of the way. We're going to move the templates out of the way. And we're going to get out our scoring board. Does not matter what scoring board you use. Most paper crafters have one already. So you're going to take your 4 pieces of cardstock and you're going to place them here. And as you can see, my cardstock is exactly 5 inches. I need to separate this into 5 sections. So I need 4 lines. And because we're doing 1 inch, we're just going to score this every 1 inch. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you're going to do all 4 of them the exact same way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this is live time. I don't speed anything up or slow it down so that you can actually get a handle on how long this project takes. Now keep in mind, I am explaining it as I go, so the video is going to take slightly longer than your project. But I like to show you in real time in case you have time limits, you don't have a lot of time to craft, and you need to make sure that you can get something done in time. 2, 3, and 4. I don't know about you guys, but the newer bone folders seem to wear. Like this one is wearing out. It no longer has a sharp point. The plastic is melting almost. So I think I am going to look for a better quality bone folder. One of my favorites is from the darker color gray boards, but I noticed it has the same issue. I mean, it's plastic, it's friction, it's heat, it's going to happen. But I might look for a better bone folder that I can use with any of my boards. And if I find one, I'll make sure I post it on my Facebook so that you can see it too. If you're not on my Facebook, you might want to jump over after this video and join us, because a lot of these projects other people make and post pictures of them, and you get a lot of great ideas. I have a really, really good bunch of followers on my Facebook page. So make sure you join. It is in the description. We're going to fold all of these lines. And when I fold it over, to make sure I get that line straight, I'm going to line up my paper, because this is a very long piece and it would be super easy to get off track to where your lines aren't being folded properly. And it could still happen, but I try to avoid that by lining up the paper. Remember, your folds are only as good as your cut was. So if you're using a cutter, and I have several, and none of them actually cut precise exactly. So now this will roll into a tube where 2 sections are overlapping, and I have a perfectly square 1-inch tube. So you're going to do that with 2 of them. The other 2 we're going to cut using the template. And I will link that video of how to make the template. If you're interested in these acrylic templates, just send me an email. Fold this down. And now we have another perfectly square 1-inch tube. Now let's cut these 2 pieces. These are the mitered pieces. These are the pieces that have the little mitered edge, the little, I think it's 45 degrees. I don't want to say the wrong. Yes, this is 45-degree little angle here. So we're going to use the templates. Now, for this template, you can use it on a full sheet or in pieces. And on my Facebook page, I do have cheat sheets to help you know how to measure. Like this is the 5-inch, not the 3 3/4. So coming onto Facebook, make sure you go to the file section and print out your guides. We're going to put the L in the corner so that we can slide the template right up to it. Now this template is upside down because, let me turn one of these off. There we go. You need the shaped edge on the outer edge of this paper if you're doing the pieces. If you are doing the 1-sheet shadow box, such as this was 1 sheet, then the straight edge goes in the corner, the craftytinas goes in the upper corner for you doing the 1 sheet. Where here it's upside down, so the writing is upside down, and you're going to put the little corner in the upper right hand corner. We'll move the little L out of the way, and then we need a pen. And of course, it was out of reach. So I'm going to put it back here again, because remember, your lines and your cuts are going to determine how perfect your shadow box turns out. So I'm going to take a pen and I'm going to angle it, and I'm going to get that line all the way up against the inside of that template. So now I have this cut out lines. I'm going to mirror image this one. So I want to flip this over. I'm going to put my little L bracket up here. And I turned off one of these lights to try to save you guys from the glare. And we're just going to mark. And now I have the cut lines on both sides. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the second piece. It's identical. You're going to put the little square in the corner, put the template in the corner. If you felt like your hand slipped, do it again. It's most important right now to make sure this is as perfect as it gets. Does it still work if it's not perfect? Absolutely. We're going to mirror this over by flipping it around. It's just if you try to get it as good as possible, then when the small mistakes happen, it's not going to be as noticeable and you're not going to be disappointed with the results. I haven't really had any issues that I couldn't live with. Like if there's a small gap here, this does not bother me. If it did, I could always put a ribbon all the way around this to make it pretty, tie a bow at the top, hang it up. There's always a way to fix any issue that you may have. So now that we have our lines, we are done with the template. I have a video showing you how to make this little pouch as well. It was just a super easy felt made with hot glue, a ribbon, and a cam snap. But it's a great place to put these templates because they are shiny, they're clear, and they go everywhere on the craft table. So now let's cut our two pieces. And yes, they are hand cut. We don't have a punch that will punch this out because our Shadowbox punch board is only made to punch out the shape for a 1/2 inch. It won't do it for an inch. The key to not having that gap in the corner is to cut off your mark. That's why I did it in pen, not just for you to see it, but because I want to cut that off. So I want to keep my scissors on the inside of that cut line. And it doesn't have to be perfect, guys. You're cutting from score line to score line, by the way. It's a perfect little way to help you guide. And it's just a simple cut. The whole point is to get that ink line on the piece that's the discard. And we're going from score line to mark. And again, I wanted that cut line on the throwaway piece. It helps when you're making it too. It actually fits better when that happens. Little snip scissors are a good way to go for this because you are cutting in 1-inch increments. Unless you're just really comfortable with full-size scissors for little cuts like this. Again, my ink lines are on the discard. And now I have my first angled shadow box piece. So let's cut the rest. I'm not going to show you because you know. Now this one, you see the ink line didn't go to the tip. I must have moved the template. I know that I need to cut from the tip to that mark. So this one, my ink is going to be on the inside. Only because I know I moved that template. Because it goes from 1 inch in diagonal, across, 1 inch, 1 inch, and 1 inch. So we're going to flip over here and we're going to do these. It's not a lot of hand cutting. If you're making several of these and you cut everything out to start with and then you assemble everything, it would go super fast. So if you needed to make multiples of these, gather all your supplies for everything, cut everything out, score everything, mark everything, then cut everything, and then assemble everything. Kind of like a little factory assembly line going. This is kind of glaring. Let's move that out. Now we need to fold these like these. We don't have the straight edge, so we're just going to fold it to the score line. You need to fold all 4 score lines, all in the same direction, all in. And now I have a 1-inch tube with the mitered 45-degree angle. And I'm not worried about this marking here because this is the seam line, so it will be glued down. You won't even notice that mark is there because it's going to be glued. Let's fold the other one. And now I have 1-inch square tube with my mitered cuts. So now that we have our sides assembled, let's start layering and getting this sucker all made up. We're going to start with our 12 by 12 chipboard. This is 30-point chipboard. It can be any chipboard you want. If you buy your paper in pads, you know, the little note pads, don't forget that the last sheet is usually chipboard, so that you have an extra piece of 12 by 12 chipboard to use. Always look for recycled materials because you always want to save money when you're crafting so that you can buy more toys or more items to have fun with. So I'm going to put, and it doesn't need to be a lot. I just want this attached to this chipboard because this is my background. I hated using double-sided paper because there's so much you can do with double-sided paper that I didn't want to waste it, but I really liked this look to go with my blue construction. So I sacrificed the double-sided paper. So we're going to put this right in the middle. Now what I did was I cut this paper I cut this paper 11 3/4 by 11 3/4, so I would have a little bit of edge, just so that if I didn't get this centered, it wasn't hanging off. So now that I have my paper, I'm ready to attach my sides. So let's assemble the sides, and I'm going to use hot glue. I'm using a hot glue pen. I'm going to keep the base out of the view of the camera because my camera tries to autofocus on it. I don't know if it's the fluorescent green or if the light that's red. My camera just loves that hot glue gun, so we're going to keep it out of sight. You simply need to put glue on this flap so that this flap can fold down. Now when I'm looking at this, for some reason, this is off. Something like that could make a difference in my frame. So I'm going to line it up and shift my line over. And now that's much better. It doesn't have to be exact, but if it's really noticeable, then try to shift your line a little bit. So I'm going to use this hot glue pen, and I'm going to go down one side and up the other. I'm going to hold it in the center, close the center, and work my way down. Now I had to do that in one foul little swoosh because it's hot glue. It can and will dry too fast. Now I didn't shift this over enough. I should have paid more attention, but I can still manipulate this. It needs to be able to fold both ways. It needs to be able to fold this way, and it needs to be able to fold this way. And now I have my 1-inch by 1-inch mitered edge shadow box. So let's do the next one. We're going to do it the exact same way. We're going to place this down. And I'm going to add glue down one side and up the other, doing it quickly, holding it in the center, folding the center, and working my way down. And this one did the same thing, but it still folds. And that has nothing to do with the way I did it. You're going to get some that aren't going to be exact because you didn't cut it exact and you didn't even know it. Most of the cutters out on the market, there is no exact. I'm actually going to trim this one slightly. And now I have another mitered shadow box frame. What I was saying is there's not a cutter out there that cuts exactly straight every single time. I've bought packs of 12 by 12 paper and they weren't cut straight either. So it's just something, if you are bothered by not being exact, then crafts may not be in it for you. If it's homemade, it needs to be a little off. It gives it more character. Now these are our straight pieces and we're going to do them the same way. Now we have our straight. And we're going to do one more. This is our last one. We're getting a little low on glue. This is a great glue pen. It's a very fine nozzle, comes out quickly, it doesn't overheat. It does not cut itself off though. That's the only thing I wish it would do, is cut itself off. Not that I've ever left it on. No, not me. This one, I definitely must not have gotten this one straight. But anything's fixable when you're doing crafts. So now I have my 4 pieces and I have my backing. Let's assemble these. Now the best way to assemble these is you're going to want to put the seam, the 2 flaps on the bottom. So this is going to go like this. Your longest, not your shortest, but your longest is going to go to the top, and then you're going to flatten it. So I'm going to put hot glue along here. I'm going to come down, up, and go back across. I'm going to place the corner, and then I'm going to hold it up and place the other corner, and then do the middle. I'm not going to do the middle out because I don't want this to shift. Now I do notice that my stuff is hanging off slightly, so I'm going to trim that. It's easier to do when you're not on camera because I have to not look over to see what I'm doing because I don't want my ponytail to be in the camera view. So now I'm ready to put my hot glue and make sure that we're ready. I'm simply going to go down, across, back up, and doing it along as close as you can to the edge without going over is the best. So we're going to put this corner down, and then we're going to put this corner down, and then we'll. And now I have the top of my shadow box all complete. As you can see, they line up. The only problem with hot glue is you're always picking it off when you get started. So now I have my top piece, and you're going to think, well, wow, that's just really flimsy. But wait, it gets much better. I'm going to flip it over, get your other mitered piece, the double side. Let's glue this little corner down here. I don't like to leave anything loose. You're going to do the same thing again. The double side goes on the bottom. Your mitered pieces, the longest piece goes across the top. So we're going to flatten it this way. You're going to add your hot glue. You're going to go down, across, up. I may have went down too far there, but that's okay. There's always a way to fix anything. We're going to put this in the corner, this in the corner, and straight across. Well, look at there. No glue was left out. If you have glue left out over here, that is okay. Just rub it off the bottom so it doesn't interfere with your pieces going in. So now we're ready to add the side pieces, which is going to sturdy up this frame, because right now you can see that it is very loose. So you're going to take one of your tubes, and the same principle, the double piece with the seam can go out or in, doesn't matter wherever you want it to go. We're just going to put it on the outside. You're going to fit that little thing right inside the mitered cuts. It goes inside the cuts. And now you have the straight edge, it lines up to the back perfectly. Now what you're going to do is you're going to lay it down. You're going to hold it back here, and you're going to add your glue on the inside. There's no perfect placement of that glue. You just need it to stick to the bottom. Once that happens, you're going to push this back up, and look at those corners, guys. Once we glue them, they're all tucked in nice and neat. So now let's put a dab of glue here on the inside on the left corner, because it's going to go underneath your mitered cut and you want it to stick to that. So we're going to put a circle of glue here and a circle of glue here. Quickly pull it in all the way and press it down. We're going to hold for just a second. And now we have our perfect little shadow box. There's no glue anywhere. This is nice and sturdy now. There's no more movement. Let's flip this. Well, let's leave it on this side. It's easier to come in with the hot glue this way if you're right-handed. If you're left-handed, flip it around so that it's easier for you to come in with the glue. We're going to find that edge. And again, this one has a little bit of an edge. If yours has that, then you're just simply going to just trim that little bit of edge off without cutting the fold piece, because you don't want to open up the shadow box. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to put this inside our little mitered cuts. This one had some hot glue up here, and I don't want that to interfere with anything, so let me get that out. I like to go a little crazy sometimes with the hot glue. And your fingernail should be able to scrape it off the cardstock without any consequences. So we're going to slide that in. We're going to slide this one in, and they fit perfectly. So now that we know they fit perfectly, we're going to lay it down. You're going to hold on the outside so this can come up, and then you're just going to put some hot glue in there. And I know you're doing it, and my shadow box moved, so you want to make sure that these edges are up against this piece right here. I knocked my shadow box when I went to put the glue back. So if that happens, you want to make sure that this edge is up against the inside of these mitered cuts. And there we have it. So now we're going to flip this around so we can put the glue in the little corners. I'm going to hold that for just a second. And there we have it. I didn't push this one in quite enough, but that's okay. I can come back later and add a little bit of glue there if it bothers me. Those kind of things don't bother me because this is a handmade gift. So now we need to add the inside shadow box, and we need to add our background paper inside the shadow box. So I'm going to measure the inside, and it is 4.5 by 4.5. Because this is a 6-inch shadow box, we have to take off 0.75 and 0.75. So I have to take off 1.5 inches. So 6 inches means this is 4.5 by 4.5. We're just going to use this one. I don't use this one a lot because the blade is already dulling on this one. So if this was a rectangle, you want to make sure you're getting the images right side up. This is a square, so it doesn't matter. So we're going to go 4.5. And then you can choose. I want to make sure this little crane guide's in here. So let's do 4.5 on this side. Because the shadow box image is smaller, like this one's a little bit smaller than this one, you could print something here. Like you could print a construction truck with the child's name on the truck itself. That would be adorable. So now that we have this, we're going to put some adhesive on the back. You don't need a whole lot. It's not going to be exposed to kids feeling it or moving it or anything like that. But I don't want it to like pop out either. Start with one corner and work your way around. If the paper ends up being slightly too big, and remember I told you the shadow box was a little warped, you can use an X-Acto knife and cut that little piece of paper there off. It is so tiny and it's tucked in there so well, I'm not even going to bother. Now I have my second shadow box. I want to glue my second shadow box in here. I'm personally not going to glue this in this video because I want to find some more construction equipment. So to glue it in, and I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to show you, is you would just simply put glue to the back, turn it around, and press it wherever you want it. You could put it down here and have your construction vehicles around here. You could do it in an upper corner and have this decorated. You could do it lower so that you could put construction cars here, and then maybe a sign on each side. There's just so many options. I don't want to glue this down yet and limit myself. I knew this one, I wanted it in the center. Now the other thing is the cars. No matter what car you get, the inside is going to be not as thick or as big as the wheels. The wheels have to spin. So what I did for my other ones is I just took some pieces of chipboard and I cut a piece this big and wide enough to fit inside the tires. And I glued two pieces together, and then I glued the car to the actual shadow box. And the reason I did that is so that, I wonder if I can show you, you can barely see the cardstock, but the wheels spin, so I wouldn't have been able to glue the wheels. This one I did try to glue the wheels. Didn't work as well, but it's good enough. The wire is glued on the bottom of this one, and then I just simply mangled it a little bit, and then I hot glued it to the back of the hook. That is how I got this illusion. This, again, is washi tape, and then you can glue your vehicles anywhere you want them. If you want them on the sides, like they're going up the sides, or on the top, I just wanted to be able to view them. They fit perfectly in the shadow box, but this has a little bit of extra space for them. I used 5. You could always do the tow truck at the bottom, towing one of the trucks. You could have cars going across the top. You could have cars going up the side. It's really your choice. You can do anything you want with the shadow box. Now, you do not also have to have the shadow box be construction. If your kid has a specific hobby or theme to their room, this is a great opportunity for you to decorate very inexpensively. You can get paper in the correct colors, and then you can print the paper of the theme for the center. Because this is a lot of printing and most people don't have a 12 by 12 printer, you could print your theme in the center. You could also print their name in the center if you wanted to do the rest of the box for their theme. Remember, I'm going to use these only because I have them and I want to use them up. You can cut them out with your Cricut or Silhouette and have any name or theme up here you want. I'm going to look for little construction cones and some roadway signs. This would be a great way to do a train as well. You could put train track tape all the way around, add some little trains inside, put your little crossing guard signs, and that's another great thing for boys. Dinosaurs would also work. Dinosaurs would be a great way to express into this shadow box. These little dinosaurs you can get at Dollar Tree, or you can get better ones other places. But these little guys sitting around here with a little fake tree would be absolutely adorable. You don't have to stop at just boy themes. You can also do little girl themes. Get these little sets at the Dollar Tree. You could get like 2 or 3 of them and space the little dog and cat, or 2 dogs. There should have been a cat in there. You could put the little carrier here with one of them coming out, put their little bowl, however you want to do it. You could do a Barbie theme, fashion doll theme, Lego theme, video game theme, pretty much anything you want. Just keep in mind, this is a nice size wall decoration. In order to hang it, you can either attach a ribbon, a cord, anything you want. We've done tags, the little gift tags with the little hole in the top. We've also put them in the back. Remember, this is super lightweight. The only heaviness is going to be what you add to it. So if you add the little cheap toys, it's going to be super lightweight. If you add heavy metal toys, you're going to want to make sure that you hang this with something that's going to hold up the weight. It's still not going to be very heavy, You can still hang it on your wall pretty much with a push pin, which I love. So this is another gift idea using the templates. So let me know what you think, and let me know what you're going to put in your shadow box. If you're on my Facebook page and you make this, please share a photo with us because you help other crafters know what they want to make. Come join us on Facebook, subscribe to my channel because we're just getting started with Christmas decorations and gifts. Thanks for watching, guys, and always happy crafting.